Um, I'm going to start by just acknowledging, again, Coach Hamilton. What a great night and a cool night for him. I obviously couldn't see the halftime. I heard it went well. I heard he was happy, which is great. Hope he gave you that big Coach Hamilton smile. Um, he means and meant so much to me as a player, and to so many of us. All of his players, for the most part, would say the same thing. He's a really good coach, and that's why he's won a lot of games. But he's a better human. He's a better man. He prepared us for the way to live our lives. In terms of when we leave, we know how to respect people. We know how to look people in the eyes. We know how to shake people's hands. We know how to converse with people. And a lot of that was because of his leadership. So what a cool opportunity as a program to hang his name forever in our rafters, to celebrate as the career all-time wins leader. I think I got 3, which means I'm 435 behind him, but I'm coming, Coach Hamilton. It's going to take me a long time to get there, but what a cool honor for him, and I hope he enjoyed his night. Moving on to the game, I cannot iterate this enough. That is a good team. UT Martin is a good team, and they just won 2 bye games on the road against UNLV and Bradley, two really good teams. UNLV turned around and beat Memphis on the road, and so the job Jeremy's doing over there should be noticed, and it is being noticed nationally, partially because of the style of play, partially because they have a lot of guys with names I can't pronounce, but they're good players, man. It brought me back to my playing days in Europe. They're tough, they move the ball, they're physical, they guard. People don't realize they guard as a team. It's hard to score on them, which you saw tonight. We couldn't buy a bucket around the rim. Our three-point shooting was a little off because they did a good job, and he does an unbelievable job as a coach. Watching film on them, I was thoroughly impressed with the job he's doing, and I think they're going to go, if not win their league, be very, very competitive the rest of the year. With that being said, we had a couple guys in particular step up. I'll acknowledge AJ Swinton. He had a tough little stretch where we had to get after him in terms of his discipline and suspend him, and he's bounced back with a great attitude, with consistency is what we need for the rest of the year on and off the court. But you see his athleticism and the impact he can have on a game. So he was ready to play with Chauncey being out. AJ stepped in and did an unbelievable job. And then obviously, Cam Miles. Cam's minutes have been a little bit lower as a freshman, but all of our guys have been working their tails off, and he came in. Obviously, offensively is what everyone cares about in terms of just having some timely buckets and some big shots when we needed them. But defensively, I thought he was incredible. He had 3 steals. He had, I think, 6 or 7 deflections over the course of the game. One of our leaders in deflections. So I was very, very pleased with both of those guys as a freshman and sophomore to step in and help us win.
Questions?
What did you guys do at the opening of the second half to change that game and create the 17-point lead that you then played with for the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think, in the first half, I felt like UT Martin worked harder than us, and they were more physical. They were playing harder. Every 50-50 ball was theirs, and they got a lot of 50-50 calls tonight because they were playing more physical than us. That's just the reality of it. When you play more physical, you get more calls. And second half, I was trying to figure out what to do going into halftime, like to lay into them and say some foul language to our guys, or, walk in and very politely and gently tell them that you need to get your head out of a place it shouldn't be, all right? And I chose option B, and then I asked them what they were seeing, and to our guys' credit, they said everything I would have screamed at them, in terms of our physicality, in terms of being outworked. Our defense was poor, our offense was poor because our defense, but we were sleepwalking, and they did a really good job turning up the volume, specifically defensively. I gave them full freedom to run and hit and trap whenever they wanted, and they took full advantage of it. And as a team, I just thought our effort, our communication, our physicality skyrocketed in the second half. And that's why I don't think I've ever seen at any level 33-4 points off of turnovers. It single-handedly won us a game tonight.
Kind of following up on the turnovers, it was 26-6. You guys forced 26. Talked to Coach Schulman, he was saying you're going to give him nightmares. It felt like you had a good game plan, but what was it that you guys were doing that was just so effective at getting turnovers today?
Well, we have some good defenders that are aggressive, and especially sometimes I just got to get out of their way, you know, and it's hard to do as a coach. You know, especially when you're not playing well, you want to control it, and sometimes these kids just need to get set free. And I thought at halftime we challenged them a little bit, and then I gave them the freedom to go execute the game plan. UT Martin does turn it over because they pass so much. They're a high volume passing team, high volume assist team, and the more you pass it, the more risky it is to turn the ball over. And we just felt like we never wanted them to get comfortable. And there were stretches where you could tell they had a comfort level offensively. But when you run and hit from different places, when you blitz ball screens, when you go from a zone to a man, back to a zone, you could tell the urgency our guys were playing with defensively really helped us force a lot of those turnovers. And that's the way we're going to play. You know, we're going to try to beat you down the court on offense, and we're going to try to create more efficient shots than we created tonight. We got to make some of those shots, and then defensively we're going to speed teams up, and we're going to throw a lot of different looks at offenses, just keep them off balance. But one of our goals every night is to win the possession battle, and we won it tonight just by the way we played defense.
When you go into a game knowing you're not going to have Chauncey, how does it shape differences in rotations, and you're going to be small at times? How does it just kind of shape your philosophy of attacking the other team?
Yeah, we were not small. We were tiny at times, and but I don't mind playing small. I don't mind playing small and fast, and as long as we're covering for each other and flying around. Like I said, because Chauncey was out, and it's not going to be an extended time, but we knew going into this game we were not going to have him. The last few days we prepared on a few different lineups that we thought could be successful against UT Martin. Some were, some weren't, and that's the way the ball bounces sometimes. But like I said, guys stepped up. You know, AJ had a great game. He had some plays just athletically that kind of blow you away. And other guys, even Jay, you know, he couldn't buy a shot. I was telling him to keep shooting, and he's looking at me like, no, sir, I'm going to start driving. And that was probably the right call. He got to the line 10 times, way more than he's been all year. I'm still going to tell him to keep shooting, him and Kobe specifically. You start one out of 5 both, because their game plan was to take those guys off the line and make it really tough for them to shoot. But I felt like because of that, they turned down some looks that they should have shot. But respect to Lejay to kind of figure it out as a grown-up, as a senior, of, okay, shots aren't falling, I'm going to do something else to impact the game, and especially down in the second half. He got downhill and got to the foul line, which really helped us.
Have you ever gotten a technical before, like at any level, as a player, as an assistant?
Yeah, a few times.
Not here, though, right? I wouldn't think.
I don't think I ever got a tech as a player at Florida State. I think Coach Hamilton would have murdered me. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that because it's going to get me going again. But like I said, I'm still adjusting to some things in college. The refereeing being one of them. I didn't think they had a bad night by any means. I was just, you know, yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that. I would have done the same thing I did again if this game was played 5 minutes from now. I'm not afraid to stand up for our team, and overall, again, I'm gonna keep learning the college game, but I'm also gonna have our teams back, and I got to be smart about the time. Obviously, it was I think a 9 or 10 point game when it happened. Late in the second half, I got to be a little more wise and control my emotions. But I'm also, you know, going to stand up for our team and stand up for what I believe are right calls and wrong calls. But overall, I thought the reffing was fine. It was just a moment of a little bit of fun.
Well, it was a crazy call.
Yeah.
Let's be
Well,
honest.
I'm not
Don't
going.
you have
I'm
to
not.
comment on it? I did have
Yeah.
a question though. When you go into halftime,
Corey's lobbing
I know.
himself, just
I'm
like,
sorry, I'm not-
gonna give me fine. Doug's having a full-blown
I know.
panic attack, and my administrator's sweating over here. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
You're 4 games in now.
Yep.
When you go into a locker room at halftime, is it the same message every time, or like, do you let the players kind of tell you? You get advice from the players or feedback from the players as far as what they would like to do, and how much is it like? I don't know. You guys talk to each other. It's collaborative, not just coaches talking to players and telling them what to do.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's never the same. I think coaching is a lot like parenting. The same thing doesn't work every time. You can try to discipline your kids 1,000 times over. Sometimes you got to love them. Sometimes you got to yell at them. Sometimes you got to hug them. Sometimes it's always different. And that's the job as a head coach and the job as a father to kind of find that balance of what they need. Sometimes you need tough love. Sometimes I need to ask my daughter why she did what she did to get her to understand where I'm going. And tonight was one of those moments of like, you guys tell me, you guys, and I'll say this too. Sometimes I got to read the room, and when you walk in and the room's not silent, they're actively talking and sometimes yelling at each other. To me, that's a great sign, because they're not satisfied and they're trying to help each other. And that's what made me happy tonight. I walked in the locker room, they were all engaging with each other and telling each other the same things I was about to. And that's where you got to kind of shift gears. I was going to light them up, and I just asked them what they thought and what they were talking about, and they hit it spot on. And we as a team, we have some talented guys. We don't have the talent to ever get outworked. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. We cannot get outworked on either side. And I felt like first half we got outworked. And that's a credit to UT Martin too. They play hard. But our guys realize that we can't expect to do what I think and what they think we can do this year and surprise a lot of people by being outworked. It's impossible. So I was happy and I was pleased, not with the way we played, but with their response to the way we were playing. And like I said, sometimes as a coach, you got to feel that and see that, especially with 6 seniors on the team, and get out of their way a little bit and let them go do their job.
Is Alex a guy that kind of works the right way whenever he is on the court, though, in the sense of doing whatever it takes, whether it's rebounding, blocks, even some assists? I know you probably like him to hit more free throws.
Yeah. Oh, the free throws tonight were atrocious. I almost had a heart attack on the sideline when I think we missed our first 4 maybe. But then it was the whole game was out of rhythm. And again, it's a credit to UT Martin, but it's also, I'm not an excuse guy. We had a week off. I thought our last 2 practices were absolutely dog poop. And I let the guys know that the way you prepare impacts a game. And even when we shot our free throws today and shoot around, we weren't focused. You call it basketball guys, call it whatever you want. We did not work the way we should have worked leading up to this game. And to me, it showed up in a lot of different areas. But with your question of Steen in regard to Steen, he's probably our most dependable guy in terms of knowing what his job is and then executing his job regardless of the circumstances, which I love. I know I can count on Steen. He knows his job. He knows how he can impact winning. And he does that at just an automatically consistent level, time in and time out. Put him in the game, usually good things happen. Take him out of the game, I don't feel quite as confident as I do with him in the game. And he does all the little things. Some people call it a glue guy. It doesn't matter what it is, he's gonna do it to try to help the team win.
How much has it helped Tomas and Cam being around? You said 7 seniors, just learning and then leading up to a game like tonight for Cam.
Yeah, Tomas and Cam and Martin. Even though Martin started tonight, that's usually our second unit in practice. And those guys have such a competitive spirit and a confidence to them that I love. And we had to have some conversations with a couple of those guys as underclassmen across the board, because naturally in human nature, you're not happy with the minutes you're getting. And I told all of them every day is an opportunity to earn more. But not only myself, our staff and your teammates, you have to earn those minutes. You're not just gonna walk in and play 30 minutes a night. You know, it's just the reality. You have to earn those minutes, especially as an underclassman. Tonight, those guys earn more minutes, and they earn my trust a little bit more, and they earn their teammates' trust a little bit more. So it was great to see, and I think all those younger guys kind of feed off each other. They have this like delusional confidence that they're the second coming of whoever their favorite players are. But I love it. I would much rather have to turn that dial down in terms of confidence than try to turn it up.
Just a quick follow-up on Cam. You talked to us about his tools and some of the stuff that he has to work through as a freshman. When he puts it all together like he did tonight, I think you also had like 8 in the final 5 minutes. Just what can that do for him when you talk about what you just did with confidence and trying to earn more minutes?
Yeah, Cam's a guy that we're really excited about. He was frustrated because he feels like he can help us win in a lot of different ways, but he's also playing behind pretty good guard right now in Rob McCray, and it helped him even more with the minutes because Rob picked up some fouls he shouldn't have. And I thought Rob was really good. He had a quiet, I don't know what he ended up with, a quiet 16 and 7, you know, with 3 steals. Like, and to me, I thought he wasn't the Rob McCray I'm used to seeing, partially because of foul trouble. But Cam, for a freshman, has you know, really impressed our staff. And I think he'll continue to do that as he grows and matures and works on his game. And one of our coaches I overheard 2 days ago, not yesterday, talking to Cam about like not riding the roller coaster of emotions. And shoot, I did that as a freshman too. Like, I have 10 points against Maryland, and the next game I have 0, and it's like the Super Bowl, and then like the worst game of your life. And in reality, it's just like you scored a few more points. You gotta find ways to impact the game, and again, earn your teammates and your coach's trust to play more. And that's natural. I think the world of Cam. He's gonna help us win a lot of games. Hopefully not just this year, but moving forward as he grows into, you know, our starting lead guard at some point in the future.
Everybody all set?